Are you looking for the best motherboard for Ryzen 9 3900X? In this video we will look at some of the best motherboard for Ryzen 9 3900X. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Gigabyte X570 AORUS Pro. The Ryzen 9 3900X was the flagship processor of the Ryzen 3000 series, and many still use it in their rigs paired with modern GPUs. For this processor, we recommend the Gigabyte X570 AORUS Pro. When we tested this motherboard for our X570 AORUS Pro review, it showed excellent efficiency and performance. This is an ATX motherboard with dimensions of 30.5 cm x 24.4 cm, which means it offers a good size. Due to that size, you get plenty of expansion options like extra RAM and PCIe slots. That said, it won't fit inside a mini ITX case, so if you have a low-profile build, we recommend the best mini ITX motherboard. It has a maximum memory capacity of 128 GB DDR4 RAM running at a maximum frequency of 2933 MHz. This should be more than enough to handle intense gaming and productive sessions. To put it into perspective, I have a Ryzen 5 5600X paired with 16 GB DDR4 RAM running at 3600 MHz, but my motherboard is the Gigabyte X570 AORUS Elite, which supports overclocking on up to 4000 MHz. That said, if I disable XMP, the frequency drops to 2133 MHz, and even with that, I didn't run into any stuttering or lag issues in titles like Apex Legends, Battlefield 2042, Insurgency, Sandstorm, Rainbow Six Siege, and Counter-Strike 2. Number 2. ASUS ROG Strix X570. Much like the Gigabyte X570 AORUS Master, the ASUS ROG Strix X570e gaming sits somewhere between a mid-range and flagship motherboard, delivering a wealth of features, strong performance, and stellar looks. The ROG Strix name implies a certain quality, something this board channels in droves, alongside the lineup's head-turning style, notably the commanding heatsinks and Aura Sync RGB. Performance should be up there with the AORUS Master, and there's a sense the board offers the Ryzen 9 3900X the perfect ecosystem to thrive, whether that's high-end gaming or those demanding multi-core tasks. The build quality is also on point, as seen in the welcome touches to the cooling solution and power management, an active chipset heatsink, 16 power stages, a ProCool 2 power connector, a MOS heatsink with a heat pipe, M.2 heatsinks, and durable components throughout. So, even if your components are overclocked, this motherboard should run relatively cool. Other features include 2.5 gigabits per second LAN, Intel Gigabit, Wi-Fi 6, generous I/O, HDMI, DisplayPort, plenty of USB 3.2 ports, and more, 8 SATA ports, for DMM slots up to 4400 MHz, 2 PCIe 4.0x16, and outstanding audio thanks to Supreme FXS 12204 audio. This means that you have plenty of options to connect various peripheral and storage devices without worrying about running out of space. Overall, the ASUS ROG Strix X570e gaming offers an awful lot. The question is whether there's too much there for your needs. If you'll make use of it all, the board is a perfect match for the Ryzen 9 3900X. Number 3. ASRock X570 Pro 4. If you want an X570 motherboard but don't want to spend a big amount, the ASRock X570 Pro 4 is worth considering. Performance floats somewhere around middling, not impressive, but not subpar either. The board performs more or less like the ASUS TUF Gaming X570 Plus, minus the good overclocking chops. You undoubtedly get what you pay for, but the board should be able to handle stock 3900X speeds without any trouble. Its 10-power phase design should be good enough to deliver stable power to the processor. In addition, it has 4 DDR4 DIMMs that support a maximum of 4066 MHz, meaning you can stack up on RAM slots to boost the overall performance. This motherboard also features 2 PCIe 4.0x16 and 2 PCIe 4.0x1 slots, meaning you can mount the GPU on the primary slot while using the remaining slots to install storage or other devices like a sound card. Despite all of this, we are a far cry from the Gigabyte X570 AORUS Pro, for example, but there's more than enough here to hook up a respectable gaming rig. ASRock has cut corners to keep the price, and you can easily see where. For example, the I/O lacks an integrated backplate. Most apparent is the VRM heatsink, which feels inadequate for the board's 10 power phases, hampering the ASUS TUF Gaming X570 Plus overclocking potential. Similarly, the M.2 and chipset heatsinks appear more like an afterthought to complement the board's aesthetic rather than a concerted effort to keep temperatures in check. Fortunately, this shouldn't affect the performance significantly, and temperatures should remain within a respectable range.